The sun was setting over Silicon Valley as Elon Musk leaned back in his office chair, rubbing his tired eyes. The wall of windows behind him framed the orange-pink sky, a view he rarely took time to appreciate. Today had been particularly draining. Back-to-back meetings about rocket designs in the morning, electric vehicle production issues in the afternoon, and now he was reviewing neural interface research until well past, when most people had gone home. His assistant knocked softly on the door frame. "Sorry to bother you, but this just arrived by special courier. They said it's urgent." She placed a sleek black envelope on his desk and quietly left. The envelope had no return address, just his name printed in silver. Odd. Musk picked it up, feeling its unusual weight. It wasn't electronic correspondence or a standard business letter. Those rarely came in physical form anymore, especially not delivered by special courier after hours. Inside was a single card made from heavy stock paper, with an embossed silver eagle at the top. The message was brief. "Your presence is requested tomorrow at 2 p.m. National security matter requiring your specific expertise. Car will arrive at 1:30 p.m. Discretion is appreciated." Below was an address in Washington, D.C. and a QR code, along with a phone number. No signature, no explanation of which government agency was making the request. Musk's first instinct was to dismiss it. His schedule was packed for weeks. He was overseeing critical rocket tests and dealing with production challenges across multiple companies. Government bureaucrats were always wanting his time for one thing or another, usually regulatory discussions that went nowhere, or requests for technology insights they could get from reading his company's public papers. But something about this felt different. The unusual delivery, the minimal information, the explicit mention of national security. He scanned the QR code with his phone. It displayed only a confirmation screen with tomorrow's date and a countdown timer. Whatever this was, someone had gone to considerable lengths to get his attention. He called the number. It rang twice before a woman answered. "This is Musk. I received your invitation." "Yes, Mr. Musk. We've arranged for your private jet to be ready at 5 a.m. The matter is time-sensitive. Will you attend?" "What agency are you with? What's this regarding?" "I'm not at liberty to discuss details on an unsecured line. I can confirm. This meeting has been authorized at the highest levels. Your particular knowledge of aerospace engineering, artificial intelligence, and advanced materials is specifically requested." Musk's curiosity was piqued. Those were three very different fields, and few people outside his companies knew about some of his more experimental work combining all three. "Fine. I'll be there. The car will meet you at Andrews Air Force Base." "Thank you, Mr. Musk." The line went dead before he could ask any more questions. Musk sat back in his chair, turning the card over in his hands. He had met with government officials many times before, military contracts for space launch, regulatory discussions about autonomous vehicles, energy grid planning sessions, but never like this. He pulled up his schedule on his tablet and started rearranging meetings. Whatever this was about, it had better be worth the disruption. The next day, Musk's plane touched down at Andrews Air Force Base under cloudy skies. As promised, a black SUV with tinted windows waited on the tarmac. A tall man in a dark suit opened the door as Musk approached. "Mr. Musk, thank you for coming on such short notice." The driver said nothing else as they pulled away, navigating through the base and eventually onto the highway toward Washington, D.C. Musk checked his phone but found he had no signal. Not even satellite connectivity was working. He glanced at the driver. "Is there a reason my phone isn't working?" "Signal blocking technology, sir. Standard protocol. We'll be at our destination in approximately 20 minutes. Musk looked out the window, watching the Washington Monument slide by in the distance. They weren't heading toward any of the usual government buildings he'd visited before. Instead, they turned into an older part of the city, pulling up to what looked like an ordinary office building, the kind that could house anything from accounting firms to dental practices. The driver parked in an underground garage and led Musk to a service elevator at the back. He pressed his palm against a hidden scanner and the elevator doors opened. "They're expecting you on B3, the driver said, remaining outside as Musk stepped in. The elevator had only 2 buttons, G for ground floor, and B3. The elevator descended, quickly. When the doors opened, Musk found himself in a plain hallway with white walls and bright lighting. A woman in a dark suit was waiting for him. "Mr. Musk, thank you for coming. I'm Agent Lisa Chen. Please follow me." She led him down the hallway to a security checkpoint where two guards stood next to what looked like a more advanced version of airport security. "I'll need your phone and any other electronic devices," Agent Chen said. Musk handed over his phone. "Is someone going to tell me what this is about?" "In a moment. Please step through the scanner." The scanner was unlike any he'd seen before. It seemed to be taking readings beyond the standard metal detection, temperature variations, perhaps. Electromagnetic field analysis. After clearing security, they continued down another hallway to a heavy door with no markings. Agent Chen placed her hand on a scanner, looked into an eye reader, and spoke her name. The door clicked open. "This way, please." The room beyond was a surprise. Rather than the sterile government office Musk expected, he entered what looked like a comfortable sitting room with leather chairs, bookshelves, and a coffee table with refreshments. An older man rose from one of the chairs. He was trim, with silver hair and the bearing of someone used to command. "Mr. Musk, I appreciate you making time for us. I'm Director Wilson." Musk shook his hand. "Director of what, exactly?" The man smiled slightly. "That's complicated. Officially, I oversee certain aspects of Secret Service operations. Unofficially, my department handles matters that fall outside standard protocols." He gestured to the chairs. "Please have a seat. Coffee?" Musk nodded, taking a chair. "I've rearranged my entire schedule and flown across the country. I think I've been patient enough. What is this about?" Director Wilson handed him a coffee cup. "Fair enough. 3 days ago, one of our monitoring systems detected an unusual data pattern. It was buried in the background noise of some of your company's satellite transmissions." Musk frowned. "If there's a security concern with our systems, you could have just called our security team." "It's not a breach," Wilson said. "It appears to be a response." "A response to what?" Wilson set down his cup carefully. "To signals your experimental communications array sent 2 weeks ago. The ones using that new quantum entanglement method your team has been developing." Musk went very still. That project was highly classified. Not even government contractors were supposed to know about it. The system had been designed to potentially communicate with deep space missions more efficiently, eliminating the light speed delay problem. But it was purely theoretical. They had only run one test, sending a simple mathematical sequence as a test signal. "How do you know about that project?" Wilson didn't answer directly. Instead, he picked up a tablet from the table and handed it to Musk. On the screen was a series of numbers and symbols. "This is what we detected coming back. Our analysts have been working on it for days. We think it's a reply." Musk stared at the screen. The sequence was a perfect response to the mathematical query they had sent, but it continued the pattern in ways that showed a deep understanding of the underlying principles. Ways that even his best mathematicians hadn't fully explored yet. "This isn't possible," he said quietly. "That's why you're here," Wilson replied. "Because we need someone who understands both the technology that sent the original signal and the mathematical implications of what came back." He leaned forward. "Mr. Musk, we believe your experimental transmission may have reached someone. Or something. And whatever it is, it's responding." Musk looked up from the tablet, his mind racing through the possibilities. The quantum communication system wasn't powerful enough to reach beyond our solar system. It shouldn't have been able to reach much beyond Earth orbit in this early stage. Where did this come from? Have you triangulated the source? Wilson exchanged glances with Agent Chen. "That's the other reason we asked you here." He took a deep breath. "The return signal appears to be coming from somewhere near Jupiter's orbit. But there's no registered spacecraft in that region capable of this kind of transmission." The implication hung in the air between them. Musk set the tablet down carefully, his hands suddenly not quite steady. "I need to see everything you have on this. All the data, the original signal detection, everything." Wilson nodded. "Of course. But first, there's something else you need to see." He stood up. This way, please. He led Musk to another door at the back of the room. Beyond it was a staircase leading down. As they descended, Musk could feel the air getting cooler, the walls changing from standard drywall to concrete, and then what looked like reinforced materials he couldn't immediately identify. How far down does this facility go, he asked. Deeper than most people know, Wilson replied. This section was built during the Cold War. It's been upgraded since, of course. At the bottom of the stairs was another security checkpoint, even more rigorous than the first. After they were cleared, Wilson led Musk down a corridor to a large metal door. What you're about to see has been classified at the highest level, Wilson said. Only a handful of people know about this. We need your help to understand it. He pressed his palm to a scan. The heavy door swung open with a soft hiss, revealing a room unlike anything Musk had expected. Instead of the high-tech command center he'd imagined, he stepped into what looked like an ordinary conference room, except for one wall that was entirely covered by a massive screen currently displaying what appeared to be a star map. Please have a seat, Director Wilson said, gesturing to the chairs around the table. Musk remained standing, his eyes fixed on the star map. What exactly am I looking at? The Jupiter system, Wilson replied. Specifically the area around Europa, where our deep space monitoring stations picked up the response to your quantum signal. A technician sat at a computer station in the corner of the room. At a nod from Wilson, she tapped a few keys and the display zoomed in, focusing on a point in space that seemed empty at first glance. There, Wilson pointed. Watch closely. Musk narrowed his eyes. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, he saw it. A brief flicker of light, almost imperceptible. That could be anything, Musk said. Cosmic ray hitting the sensor. Equipment malfunction. We thought so too, Wilson interrupted, until we compared data from 3 separate observation platforms and found the same anomaly at exactly the same coordinates. He nodded again to the technician, who pulled up a new display showing 3 sets of readings side by side. Whatever this is, it's real. Musk leaned in closer to study the data. How long has it been there? That's the thing, Agent Chen said, speaking up for the first time since they'd entered the room. We've been through historical data going back 18 months. There's nothing. Then 3 weeks ago, around the time of your quantum transmission test, something appears, and it's been there ever since, occasionally moving slightly but mostly stationary. And you're sure it's connected to our test? Musk asked. Wilson pressed a button on the table, and the room darkened slightly as a recording began to play through hidden speakers. It was a series of beeps and static, seemingly random at first, but then Musk recognized the pattern. It was the same mathematical sequence his team had sent out, followed by the response they'd already shown him on the tablet. And then something more. This was recorded yesterday, Wilson said quietly. The pattern repeats every 4 hours like clockwork. Musk sank into a chair, his mind racing. I need to bring in my team, my head of quantum communications and my lead mathematician at least. Wilson shook his head. I'm afraid that's not possible yet. This information doesn't leave this room until we understand what we're dealing with. He paused. But we do have someone I think you'll want to talk to. Dr. Patel, could you join us, please? A side door opened, and a man in his 50s with salt and pepper hair entered. He wore casual clothes, jeans and a rumpled button-down shirt, rather than the formal attire of everyone else in the room. Elon Musk, meet Dr. Raj Patel. Until 3 days ago, he was leading the astronomy department at Caltech. Now he works exclusively for us. Dr. Patel extended his hand with a tired smile. Mr. Musk, I've followed your work for years. Never thought we'd meet under these circumstances. Musk shook his hand. What circumstances exactly? Because I'm still not clear on what everyone thinks is happening here. Patel glanced at Wilson, who nodded permission. 2 weeks ago, I was using the Deep Space Radio Telescope Array to study radiation patterns around Jupiter. When I noticed an anomaly, something was blocking signals in a way that shouldn't be possible given known celestial objects in the area. He pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. like someone who hadn't slept properly in days. At first I thought it was equipment error, but then we detected your quantum signal and the response, Wilson finished, and Dr. Patel's readings suddenly made a lot more sense. Show him the visual, Patel said. The technician typed something and the screen changed to show what looked like a blurry photograph. In it, against the blackness of space, was a dark shape silhouetted against Jupiter's glow in the background. The shape was indistinct but clearly artificial, geometric angles that nature doesn't create. Musk stared at the image. When was this taken? Yesterday, Patel said. It's the best image we could get from Earth. We've requested time on the Deep Space Telescope network for better resolution, but that takes time to arrange without raising questions. Musk looked around the room, at the serious faces watching. Him. You think this is what exactly? Some kind of spacecraft? Wilson and Patel exchanged glances. We don't know, Wilson said carefully. But whatever it is, it shouldn't be there. And it's responding specifically to your quantum communication system. I need to see the raw data from all your observations, Musk said. And I need a secure line to contact my facility. I won't tell them why, but I need some specific information about our quantum system. Wilson hesitated, then nodded. We can arrange that. But first, there's more you need to see. He turned to the technician. Show him the basement level. The screen changed again, displaying what looked like security camera footage of a large, warehouse-like space. In the center of the room was something covered by a tarp, roughly the size of a small car. People in hazmat suits moved around it, taking readings with various instruments. What am I looking at? Musk asked. 3 months ago, something crashed in the New Mexico desert, Wilson said. Local authorities thought it was a meteorite until our team got there and found this. In the video, one of the hazmat-suited figures pulled back the tarp, revealing a twisted mass of metal and what looked like crystalline structures, clearly damaged, but just as clearly not natural. We've been studying it since then, Wilson continued. The materials are like nothing we've seen before. Some of the alloys don't match anything in our periodic table, and there are structures that resemble computational systems, but operating on principles our best people can't figure out. Musk leaned forward, his heart pounding. And you think this is connected to what's near Jupiter? We didn't, not until your quantum signal went out and got a response. Wilson looked Musk directly in the eyes. One of the crystalline structures in the wreckage started glowing the moment your signal was sent. It's been pulsing in the exact same pattern as the transmissions we're receiving from Jupiter. The room fell silent as Musk processed this information. After a long moment he spoke. I need to see it, not just on video. I need to see it in person. Wilson nodded. That's why you're here. The plane is already fueled and waiting. We leave for New Mexico in 30 minutes. The flight to New Mexico took just under 3 hours in a government jet that looked ordinary from the outside, but was filled with communication equipment and comfortable seating areas designed for secure briefings. Musk spent the time reviewing the data Wilson had provided and sending carefully worded instructions to his team through a secure channel that Agent Chen monitored. Dr. Patel sat across from him, answering questions and filling in details about his observations. The more they talked, the more convinced Musk became that whatever they were dealing with was far beyond ordinary technology. The way it moves, Patel explained, pulling up footage on a tablet. When it does move, it doesn't accelerate like conventional propulsion. It's just there, and then it's somewhere else with no visible transition. Like quantum teleportation? Musk asked. Similar in principle, but on a macro scale that shouldn't be possible according to our understanding of physics. The desert facility came into view as they descended. A cluster of bland government buildings surrounded by fencing in the middle of nowhere, with no identifying markers. They landed on a small airstrip and were immediately transferred to SUVs with blacked-out windows. The object is kept in a specialized containment area, Wilson explained as they drove. We've had to develop new protocols for handling it. Some of our researchers reported unusual dreams after prolonged exposure. Others experienced memory gaps. Memory gaps? Musk asked. Nothing serious, just moments of confusion. Time not quite adding up. Wilson looked uncomfortable. We rotate staff frequently as a precaution. The main building looked like a typical government research facility. Sterile hallways, security checkpoints, scientists in lab coats. But as they descended in an elevator to the lower levels, the atmosphere changed. The security became more intense, and Musk noticed subtle differences in the construction. Walls that seemed thicker, doors that were more heavily reinforced. "We're entering a Faraday cage," Wilson said, noting Musk's observations. "The entire lower level is shielded. Whatever this thing is, it occasionally emits energy pulses we can't fully explain." The elevator opened to a large antechamber where they were met by a woman in a lab coat. Her badge identified her as Dr. Lin Nguyen, project director. "Mr. Musk," she greeted him with a firm handshake. "We've prepared everything as requested. The object has been particularly active in the last 24 hours. "Active how?" Musk asked. "Energy emissions, structural changes, and increased response to stimuli," she replied. "It seems to be, I hesitate to use this word, but awakening." She led them through a decontamination chamber where they all had to change into special suits, not full hazmat, but made of a material Musk didn't recognize. "The suits are a precaution," Dr. Nguyen explained. "We've detected no biological hazards, but the energy fields around the object can interfere with electrical systems, including the human nervous system under certain conditions." Finally, they reached a set of heavy double doors marked primary containment. Dr. Nguyen entered a code, scanned her retina, and the doors swung open. Beyond was a cavernous room, dimly lit except for bright spotlights focused on the center, and there it was. The object from the video, but seeing it in person was entirely different. It seemed to shimmer slightly, as if not quite solid, its metallic and crystalline components catching the light in ways that made it difficult to focus on directly. Musk stepped forward, drawn toward it almost involuntarily. As he approached, one of the crystalline structures began to pulse with a soft blue light. "It's responding to your presence," Dr. Nguyen said quietly, checking readings on a tablet. "That's new." Musk circled the object slowly, taking in its twisted form. It appeared damaged, as if it had broken off from something larger or suffered trauma during its descent to Earth. Yet despite the damage, there was an elegant symmetry to its design, a purpose he could sense, but not yet understand. "Has anyone tried communicating with it directly?" he asked. Wilson and Dr. Nguyen exchanged glances. "Not successfully," Wilson said. "But then again, we didn't have the developer of the world's most advanced quantum communication system with us before." Musk turned to face them. "I need my equipment brought here and my team." "Mr. Musk," Wilson began to object. "This isn't a request," Musk cut him off. "You brought me here because you need my expertise. Well, this is my expert opinion. Whatever this is, it's responding to quantum signals in a way nothing on Earth can. If we want to understand it, I need my equipment and the people who built it." Wilson looked at Dr. Nguyen, who nodded slightly. "Fine," Wilson said. "But everything and everyone gets cleared through our security protocols, and no one learns the full picture unless absolutely necessary." "Agreed," Musk said, turning back to the object. As if in response to his voice, the pulsing blue light intensified, casting eerie shadows around the room. "I think we need to hurry. Something tells me, whatever is near Jupiter won't wait forever." And the 48 hours later, the New Mexico facility had transformed. What was once a secretive government installation now buzzed with activity as Musk's hand-picked team worked alongside government scientists. In the main containment room, the mysterious object sat at the center of a web of newly installed equipment. Cables snaked across the floor, connecting to powerful computers and the specialized quantum communication array that had been flown in overnight. Musk hadn't slept more than 4 hours total since arriving. His usual intensity had doubled, fueled by a mixture of scientific curiosity and an underlying sense of urgency that he couldn't quite explain. He stood now at a workstation, reviewing data, scrolling across multiple screens while sipping his 5th coffee of the day. Dr. Nguyen approached with a tablet in hand. "Your quantum array is picking up some interesting patterns," she said, showing him the screen. "The object's emissions have increased by 30% since we connected your equipment." Musk studied the readings. It's responding to the equipment, even though we haven't activated the transmitter yet. Almost like it recognizes the technology. He turned to a woman working at a nearby computer station. Ling, are you seeing this? Dr. Ling Wu had been Musk's head of quantum communications research for 3 years. She was brilliant, precise, and currently looked as sleep-deprived as Musk himself. Yes, and it doesn't make sense. The crystalline structures are somehow resonating with our transmitter on a quantum level. It's like they're synchronized. Could they be made of similar materials? Musk asked. No, Dr. Nguyen interjected. We've analyzed every component we could without damaging the object. The crystalline structures contain elements not found on the periodic table, molecular arrangements that shouldn't be stable according to our understanding of physics. Director Wilson entered the room, followed by Dr. Patel and a man Musk hadn't met before. Mr. Musk, this is General Thomas Hayes. He's been briefed on the situation. The general nodded curtly. He was tall, with close-cropped gray hair and the rigid posture of someone who had spent decades in military service. Mr. Musk, I understand you're making progress. We're making observations, Musk corrected. Progress implies we know what we're working toward. And what are those observations telling you? The general asked. Musk hesitated, looking at the various experts in the room. That whatever this is, it's not from here. And I don't just mean not from Earth. He pointed to the crystalline structures. These aren't just advanced technology. They operate on principles that contradict our understanding of quantum physics. You're saying it's alien, General Hayes stated flatly. I'm saying it's beyond our current scientific understanding, Musk replied carefully. Whether that means it's extraterrestrial, from another dimension, or something we haven't even considered yet, I don't know. What about the signal near Jupiter? Wilson asked. Dr. Patel stepped forward. We've been monitoring it continuously. It's still there, still emitting the same pattern. But there's something new. He nodded to a technician who brought up an image on the main screen. This was captured by the Deep Space Telescope network 3 hours ago. The image showed a clearer view of what they had seen before, a dark, geometric object silhouetted against Jupiter. But now there was more detail. The object appeared to have a complex structure with various protrusions and what might be apertures or ports along its surface. That's not a natural formation, Dr. Wu said, stating what everyone was thinking. No, Dr. Patel agreed. Based on these images, we estimate it's roughly the size of a large aircraft carrier, and it's maintaining its position relative to Jupiter, with impossible precision without any visible means of propulsion. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. It was General Hayes who spoke first. So we have an unknown object in our solar system and a piece of what might be similar technology here on Earth. The question is, what do we do about it? We establish communication, Musk said without hesitation. That's why it's here. That's why it responded to our quantum signal. And if its intentions aren't friendly? The general asked. If its intentions weren't friendly, I doubt we'd be standing here having this conversation, Musk replied. Whatever this is, it has technology far beyond ours. If it wanted to harm us, it could have done so already. Dr. Wu cleared her throat. There's something else you should see. She tapped a few keys, and a new set of readings appeared on the main screen. We've been analyzing the energy signatures from both the object here and the readings from what's near Jupiter. They're not just similar, they're complementary, like two parts of a whole. What are you suggesting? Wilson asked. I think this, she gestured to the damaged object in the center of the room, might be a component of that. She pointed to the image of the larger object near Jupiter. A probe or a communication device that was sent ahead, perhaps, and I think it's damaged. Musk nodded slowly. That would explain why it crashed, and why the other hasn't approached Earth directly. He turned to Wilson and the general. I think we need to try direct communication, not just passive observation. We need to send a focused signal directly to the object near Jupiter using the quantum array. The general frowned. Is that safe? You're talking about deliberately contacting what might be an alien intelligence. With respect, General, Musk said. They contacted us first. When my team sent that quantum test signal, it wasn't directed at anything specific. It was a general broadcast to test the system's range. Something out there intercepted it and responded. And then this object, he pointed to the crystalline structure, started reacting. They've already opened the door. We just need to step through. General Hayes exchanged looks with Wilson. I need to consult with my superiors. There's no time for bureaucracy, Musk insisted. The fact that the object near Jupiter has remained stationary suggests it's waiting for something. Maybe for us to respond properly. If we delay too long, it might leave. Or worse, it might decide we're not worth contacting. I agree with Mr. Musk, Dr. Nguyen said unexpectedly. In the past 12 hours, the energy patterns from this object have been changing, becoming more erratic. Whatever window we have might be closing. After a tense silence, Wilson nodded. Set up your equipment, Mr. Musk. But nothing gets transmitted without final approval. 4 hours later, Musk's team had reconfigured the quantum communication array to focus a directed signal toward the coordinates near Jupiter. The damaged object had been carefully positioned at the center of the array, its crystalline components now glowing steadily with an inner blue light. The setup is complete, Dr. Wu announced. We've incorporated the object's crystalline structure into the transmission path. Based on our analysis, it should amplify our signal significantly. Musk nodded, reviewing the final calculations on his tablet. The room had filled with additional personnel, more military officers, government scientists, and security. The tension was palpable. What exactly are you planning to send? General Hayes asked. He had returned from his consultations with a grudging approval, but remained visibly uncomfortable with the situation. The same mathematical sequence as before, but modified to include a simple greeting, Musk explained. Basic binary code that could be understood by any intelligence capable of detecting and interpreting signals. Nothing that reveals critical information about Earth or humanity. And you're sure this is safe? Wilson pressed. No, Musk admitted, but I believe it's necessary. After a final round of checks, everyone took their positions. Musk stood at the main control station, hand poised over the tablet that would initiate the transmission. Quantum array charged to full capacity, Dr. Wu reported. Ready on your mark. Musk looked around the room one last time, meeting the eyes of each key person present. Then he tapped the screen. Transmitting now. The lights in the facility dimmed momentarily as power surged through the array. The damaged object at the center pulsed brightly, its blue glow intensifying until it was almost painful to look at. Directly, a low hum filled the air, rising in pitch until it was just at the edge of human hearing. On the monitors, data streamed as the signal launched into space, directed precisely at the coordinates near Jupiter. For several long minutes, nothing happened. The tension in the room grew as seconds ticked by. Then every alarm in the facility went off simultaneously. Energy surge detected, Dr. Wu called out, fingers flying over her keyboard. The object is drawing power from somewhere, not from our systems. The crystalline components of the damaged object were now blindingly bright, casting harsh shadows throughout the room. The humming sound had become a high-pitched whine that made everyone wince. Should we abort? Wilson shouted over the noise. No, Musk called back. It's receiving something. Look. On the main screen, new data appeared. A massive incoming signal detected by their array, far more complex than anything they had sent. It's responding, Dr. Patel said in awe, staring at the readings from the deep space monitoring system. The object near Jupiter is moving. The room fell into a hush as they watched the distant object change position, slowly at first and then with increasing speed. Is it coming toward Earth? General Hayes asked, alarm evident in his voice. No, Dr. Patel replied, studying the trajectory. It's moving into a higher orbit around Jupiter, and it's opening somehow. The images from the Deep Space Telescope showed the object unfurling, sections separating and reconfiguring in a complex, almost organic way. As they watched, a brilliant light emerged from its center, a focused beam pointing directly at Earth. In that moment, the damaged object in their facility transformed. The twisted, broken pieces began to shift and realign, the crystalline structures reorganizing themselves before their eyes. "It's repairing itself," Dr. Nguyen whispered. As the self-repair continued, a new pattern appeared in the crystalline core, symbols or writing of some kind, flowing like liquid across the surface. And in the center, a holographic projection began to form, indistinct at first, then resolving into what appeared to be a three-dimensional star map. Musk stepped forward, drawn by an instinct he couldn't explain. As he approached, the holographic display expanded, and at its center appeared a single point of light that pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. "What is it showing us?" Wilson asked. Musk studied the display, recognition slowly dawning on his face. "It's a map of our solar system," he said quietly. "And I think it's showing us where they come from." Heavy doors slowly swung open. The holographic star map hovered in the air, casting a soft blue glow across Musk's face as he studied it intently. The room had fallen silent, everyone present understanding they were witnessing something historic. The crashed object, now partially repaired, hummed quietly at the center of their equipment array, its crystalline components pulsing in harmony with the hologram. "Can you identify that star system?" Wilson asked, breaking the silence. Dr. Patel stepped forward, adjusting his glasses as he examined the projection. "It appears to be centered on a binary star system," he said, pointing to two bright points of light at the heart of the map. "Based on the relative positions of surrounding stars, this could be in the Centauri system, our closest stellar neighbor." "Alpha Centauri?" Musk asked. "That's over 4 light-years away." "Which makes the fact that they responded to our quantum signal even more remarkable," Dr. Wu added. "Traditional radio waves would take over 4 years to reach that distance. Whatever communication method they're using isn't limited by light speed." General Hayes cleared his throat. "Let's focus on what matters. Is this a threat assessment? Are they showing us a target?" "I don't think so," Musk replied, circling the hologram slowly. "Look at the way the light pulses between these 2 points." He gestured from the representation of our solar system to the binary star. "I think they're showing us a connection, a pathway." As if responding to his words, the hologram shifted. A line of blue light stretched between the 2 star systems, pulsing with energy. Along this line, symbols appeared, complex geometric shapes that morphed and changed. "They're trying to teach us something," Dr. Nguyen said quietly. "A language or a code." "Or coordinates," Dr. Wu suggested, rapidly taking notes on her tablet. "These could be quantum frequencies, harmonic resonances that allow for instantaneous communication across vast distances." Musk nodded, excitement building in his eyes. "Not just communication. Look at this pattern." He pointed to a sequence that repeated along the glowing path. "It's similar to the theoretical models my team developed for quantum entanglement on a macro scale." "You think this is showing us how to build something?" Wilson asked. "I think it's showing us how they travel," Musk replied, the implications dawning on him. "Not with conventional propulsion, but through quantum tunneling on a massive scale. They're not limited by distance because they don't travel through space in the way we understand it." The hologram pulsed brighter, as if confirming his theory. The symbols began arranging themselves into more complex patterns, diagrams and schematics that floated in 3 dimensions. "They're giving us blueprints," Musk said, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Wu was already recording everything, her fingers flying across her tablet. "These patterns match quantum field theories we've only recently begun to explore. They're decades, maybe centuries beyond our current understanding." General Hayes frowned. "Why would they share this technology with us? What do they get out of it?" Before anyone could respond, the crystalline object at the center of the room emitted a new sound, not the humming they'd grown accustomed to, but a series of tones that rose and fell in a distinct pattern. The hologram changed again, now, showing what appeared to be a timeline. It began with a representation of the present moment, then extended forward, branching into multiple possible futures. In one branch, the lines faded and disappeared. In another, they brightened and expanded, showing both Earth and the Alpha Centauri system connected by a web of glowing pathways. "I think they're showing us two possibilities," Dr. Patel said slowly. "Two potential futures for humanity." Musk studied the fading branch carefully. "In this timeline, something happens. See how the Earth's representation dims before the connections fade? Some kind of catastrophe or decline. And in the other?" Wilson asked. "We join them," Musk replied simply. "We develop this technology and become part of something larger." The object's tones changed again, becoming more urgent. The hologram zoomed in on the Earth representation, showing a series of rapidly changing images: climate patterns, resource depletion, social unrest. Then it shifted to show technological advancements, energy systems, and finally, the quantum network connecting to the stars. "It's a warning and an invitation," Dr. Nguyen said. "They're telling us we're at a crossroads." "But why us?" General Hayes insisted. "Why Earth? Why now?" The hologram shifted again in response, zooming out to show not just the two star systems but dozens, hundreds, all connected by the same glowing network. Each star had a symbol beside it, unique and intricate. "It's not just us," Dr. Patel realized. "This is a network of civilization tie-ins, and each has a unique signature." Dr. Wu pointed to one symbol that looked newer, less established than the others. "I think this represents us, or rather, the potential future version of us. When Mr. Musk's team sent that quantum signal, it was detected by their network. It was like sending an unintentional application to join their club." Musk's eyes widened as the pieces fell into place. "The quantum frequency we used by chance matched their network protocols. We accidentally knocked on their door and they answered." The room fell silent again as everyone contemplated the implications. It was Wilson who finally spoke. "So what do we do now? Do we accept this invitation?" "I don't think we have a choice," Musk replied. "Look at the timeline they showed us. The branch where we decline fades away. I don't think that's a threat. I think it's a prediction. Without advancing beyond our current limitations, humanity faces serious challenges in the coming decades." "You're suggesting we simply trust these, whatever they are?" General Hayes asked incredulously. "I'm suggesting we listen and learn," Musk said firmly. "They could have remained hidden, or they could have come here in force if they had hostile intentions. Instead, they're offering knowledge, the most valuable thing one civilization can give another." As they debated, the object's humming intensified. The hologram began to consolidate, the complex schematics merging into simpler forms that remained visible while the star map receded. "It's focusing on the technology," Dr. Wu noted, still documenting everything. "Specifically on how to enhance our quantum communication system, to better communicate with them," Musk said, excitement building in his voice. "This isn't the end of the contact, it's the beginning of a conversation." Over the next 3 days, Musk barely left the facility. He worked alongside his team and the government scientists, interpreting the information provided by the object and incorporating it into their quantum array. Sleep became an afterthought, meals were brought in and often left untouched, and the outside world faded into irrelevance compared to the task at hand. By the 4th day, they had constructed a new type of quantum transmitter receiver based on the provided schematics. It looked nothing like their previous equipment, more organic somehow, with crystalline components arranged in patterns that seemed to defy conventional engineering logic. "Are we sure this will work?" Wilson asked, eyeing the strange device, with a mixture of concern and awe. "Based on the principles they showed us, yes," Musk replied, making a final adjustment. "But there's only one way to find out for sure." They gathered around as Musk initiated the power-up sequence. Unlike their previous equipment, which had required massive amounts of electricity, this new device drew only minimal power. The crystalline components began to glow from within, colors shifting through the spectrum in mesmerizing patterns. "Quantum field stabilizing," Dr. Wu reported, monitoring readings on her specialized equipment. "Entanglement patterns forming on a scale I've never seen before. This is beautiful." Ready to transmit, Musk said, looking to Wilson for final approval. The director hesitated only briefly before nodding. Go ahead. Musk entered the simple greeting message they had prepared, a mathematical sequence followed by basic information about Earth and humanity. As he initiated the transmission, the device emitted a soft chime, and the crashed object across the room responded with a matching tone. Signal sent, Dr. Wu confirmed. But it's different from our previous transmission. This one isn't just broadcasting, it's creating a direct quantum link. They waited, the tension building with each passing second. Then, without warning, the new device activated fully. A holographic display much clearer than before materialized above it, showing the now familiar binary star system. But this time, something else appeared. A figure. It wasn't human, nor was it entirely solid. Its form shifted and flowed, composed of what looked like living light organized into a roughly humanoid shape. Where a face might be, patterns of light swirled in complex formations. Everyone in the room froze, staring in amazement. The figure seemed to be studying them in return, its luminous form tilting slightly as if curious. Is it really there? Or is this a recording? Wilson whispered. It's real, Musk replied, somehow certain. This is a live connection. Slowly, deliberately, Musk raised his hand in greeting. After a moment's pause, the figure of light raised what might have been its hand in return, and then it spoke, not with sound, but with symbols that appeared in the air and somehow translated directly into understanding in their minds. We have waited long for another to join the network. Your signal found us. Your mind grasped our meaning. Now begins the true exchange. More symbols appeared, flowing too quickly to process consciously, yet somehow making sense on a deeper level. Your world stands at the threshold. The old paths lead to darkness. The new path leads to stars. We offer guidance, not direction. Choice remains yours. Musk stepped forward, drawn by an instinct he couldn't explain. Who are you? Where do you come from? The figure seemed to consider the question, its form shifting slightly. We are network. Many worlds, many forms, one purpose. Knowledge preserved, life continued, understanding expanded. We began as you begin now. We offer what was offered to us. And what do you want from us in return? General Hayes asked, unable to contain himself. The figure turned toward him, patterns shifting. New perspective, new questions, new answers. The network grows stronger with diversity of thought. You see problems differently. You may find solutions we have not. Musk nodded slowly, understanding. Dawning. You're not conquering or colonizing. You're collaborating, building a collective intelligence across star systems. Yes. Shared wisdom overcomes limitations of single worlds. Challenges too great for one become possible for many. The figure's form expanded slightly, encompassing more of the room in its glow. Your quantum technology unexpected, your adaptability remarkable, your potential significant. Will you join conversation? Musk looked around at the others, seeing the weight of the moment reflected in their expressions. He turned back to the luminous being and took a deep breath. Yes, he said simply. We will join the conversation. 3 months passed in a whirlwind of activity. The New Mexico facility had expanded, with new buildings sprouting up around the original complex like mushrooms after rain. Security remained tight, but the atmosphere had transformed from tense uncertainty to focused excitement. Scientists, engineers, and specialists from around the world had been carefully selected and brought in, each signing unprecedented confidentiality agreements before learning the truth of what lay at the heart of the project. Musk divided his time between the facility and his companies, using the knowledge gained from the quantum network to accelerate development of technologies that had once seemed decades away. Solar efficiency had doubled in weeks rather than years. Battery storage capacity had increased tenfold. And in a secure hangar at his aerospace facility, a new type of propulsion system was taking shape, one that bent the conventional rules of physics. Today he was back in New Mexico, standing before a group of world leaders who had been granted clearance to witness what many were calling the most significant breakthrough in human history. The President of the United States, along with representatives from China, the European Union, India, and a dozen other nations, listened intently as Musk explained what they were about to see. What began as a chance connection has evolved into something none of us could have imagined, he said, gesturing to the expanded communication array behind him. The original crashed object was now at the center of a much larger installation, its crystalline components fully restored and integrated with human-built technology. We've established regular contact with not just one civilization, but representatives from 23 different worlds, each with their own history, biology, and perspective. The assembled leaders murmured among themselves, still struggling to fully absorb the reality of what they'd been briefed on. Today, you'll witness our first full exchange using the completed translation matrix, Musk continued. You'll hear their words in your own languages and they'll understand ours. This isn't just first contact anymore. This is the beginning of humanity's membership in a community that spans our galactic neighborhood. Dr. Wu stepped forward, now the lead of what had been named the Quantum Network Initiative. The network operates on principles we're still working to fully understand, she explained. It allows instantaneous communication across vast distances without the limitations of light speed. But more importantly, it allows for the sharing of knowledge and perspectives in ways we never thought possible. And you're certain these beings have peaceful intentions? Asked the Chinese premier, voicing the concern that many still harbored.